Good afternoon. I'd like to start by complimenting the SSM Health's marketing team for their commercials that are now running in southern Wisconsin. Those commercials touch my heart, and if you truly do what you say you do in those commercials, then you already demonstrate the power of presence in a huge way. As a patient at SSM Health Janesville, I'm here to tell you about my own experience with the power of presence. From surgeons and their surgical teams, doctors, nurses, prosthetists, CNAs, family, friends, and coworkers, I feel like they listen to me, try to understand my perspective and goals, and then they help me problem solve. I will tell you that I believe that I am one fortunate woman to be able to have worked with the medical professionals that I have so far. I'm an elementary teacher, and so this afternoon I am going to ask you to visualize with me. Picture this. I am taking you to Wisconsin, a small town in Wisconsin, not a farming town, but a fishing town on the shores of Lake Michigan. Two Rivers, Wisconsin, home of the first ice cream sundae. Yeah, and a great place to grow up. My parents, a kindergarten teacher and a police officer, worked hard raising 6 children. They gave me my faith in God, my self-confidence, and determination. My husband calls it stubbornness. These traits have come in handy over the years. I was 10 years old in 5th grade. It was my brother's birthday, December 17th, and of course we had a birthday party for him. Lots of ice cream, cake, and I was very sick after that party. Then came Christmas, New Year's, lots of cookies and candy, and I was sick again. So my parents took me to the hospital in Two Rivers, where this wonderful older nurse smelled my breath, looked at my parents, and said, I was diabetic. Have things changed or what? Blood tests were done, and they confirmed the diagnosis. I was trained to manage my diabetes. I hate feeling sick, I always have, and so I did everything I could to avoid being sick. I grew up, went to college, started teaching in central Wisconsin. My first class was 28 first graders. I was so happy to have a job. I didn't even care that I had so many little lives in my hands. I met the man who is still my husband, married him, moved to the tiny village of Footville in southern Wisconsin. Now people think it is really funny that I live in Footville, but I have no feet. Yeah. I told my husband that I did not think I should have children, but some doctors, wonderful doctors by the way, told me it would be okay. After a high-risk pregnancy, imagine that, my daughter was born 2 months prematurely. My daughter and I both had access to great medical professionals. Last year she graduated from college and is an RN. I am proud of what she has done with her life. I had diabetic foot ulcers for years. They would come and they would go. And I was put on some pretty heavy, one became infected, and I was put on some pretty heavy antibiotics, and they made me sick, and I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. So in 2011, I had my left leg below the knee amputation. I've always been a forward thinker. So I know I can't change the past, and this is what I have to deal with. So I think to myself, what do I have to do to make this work? I got my prosthetic right away. I was thrilled, but on the last day of my in-house rehab, I fell directly on the bottom of my stump and broke the suture line open. There was a small section of that suture line that would not heal, so I could not wear my prosthetic. I could still drive, I could still teach, so I did from my wheelchair. About a year and a half later, in 2013, the same thing happened in my right leg. I had a below-the-knee amputation on my right leg, and before I left rehab, my left leg had finally healed, and I could wear my prosthetic. I call it a miracle. My right leg below the knee amputation failed, so I had a right leg above the knee amputation later that same year. This time, everything did heal. I got another prosthetic, and I could finally start physical therapy. I had been waiting for this for so long. Please try to contain your laughter, but really, I thought that with my prosthetics, I would just be able to get up and walk. I could see it in my head. I thought it would be so easy. I had no idea how hard and how much work it was going to be to walk. Up to this point, I had a wonderful medical team that was present and answered all of my questions and concerns. But now I am going to brag to you about the power of presence I experienced at the SSM Health Physical Therapy Services office in Janesville, Wisconsin. At my first meeting with my physical therapist, Alan Hudson, he said to me, "When you stop making progress, we're done." Which totally makes sense. But at that moment, I thought, okay, I'm really going to have to get to work. So I went to therapy 2 times a week. When we started, I could only lift my leg about an inch off of the ground. Prosthetics are heavy. But through it all, Al was always present. We had to set goals, and when those were completed, we would set new goals. Al and the entire physical therapy department cheered me on, congratulated me, they hugged me, and gave me great suggestions as I progressed through therapy. I had this huge fear of falling, so Al hooked me up to this huge machine that had a harness on it, and with the harness around me, I wouldn't fall. We focused on muscles, movements. I learned exercises that I could do at home to help me reach my goals. Everyone at the clinic was there for me every step of the way, from the therapy staff to the security officers who would see me every day coming to therapy and talk to me. The people that helped me get around in the clinic, we called them the people in purple. I think they were a different color now, but they were so very kind. Sometimes the people were so present that Al and I had to remind the custodial staff not to help me. They all talked to me and encouraged me. They were the power of presence for me. My husband put parallel bars in our garage so I could practice balancing and walking at home. When I started, I could stand and balance for about 5 seconds without holding on to something. Well, little by little, that length of time increased, and we celebrated our victories. When I got to the point where my prosthetic was holding me back, I begged for another prosthetic, a better one, and got this amazing microchip sensor processing knee. I think I said that wrong. Al made me work hard. He would say, "Let's try walking with a walker." And I would look at him and I'd say, "Al, I can't do that. You are crazy." And then we would do it. Mm-hmm. Therapy was difficult mentally and physically. After most therapy sessions, by the end of the 20-minute drive home, I would be stiff. I'd take some Advil and I would go right to bed. I did make progress. I went from lifting my legs to standing and balancing, taking steps in the parallel bars. I slow danced with my husband for the first time on prosthetics. I practiced how to fall and how to get up again off the floor. I graduated to the 2-wheeled walker, practiced going up and down stairs while hanging on for dear life. Next, we worked on walking using just one cane. I had to open a door, hold it open for Al to get through it, and then get through it myself. I had to walk through barriers, practice walking on different kinds of surfaces and on inclines. 2 years after starting therapy, I did take 3 steps completely unassisted. It was an absolutely thrilling accomplishment. I am an independent person and have been getting rides to work for over a year. Al helped me get the process started of learning how to drive using hand controls so I could get my driver's license, Just like when I was 16, I had to get my temps, I had to take behind the wheel, and I had to take the driving test. My father-in-law, a wonderful man, had been driving me everywhere. And so the day I got my license, I called him and asked him if I could drive him somewhere. I have had setbacks, prosthetic adjustments, muscle injuries, so there are still things left for me to accomplish, and that is okay. I continue to set goals and will strive to meet those goals. Throughout all of this, I would not have been as successful as I was if I had not had medical professionals who truly cared. My first steps, that slow dance, my first drive, all of these things happened thanks to the SSM Health team, whose determination matched my own, who took the time to really get to know me, my hopes and needs, and help me set goals that fit me as an individual. They worked endlessly to help me meet my goals. Remember to truly listen to your patients. Be present. The power of presence is what made the difference for me. Thank you.